Hi there, welcome to our market update. I've tried to film this a couple of times, but with everything that's been going on around us, each time we've sort of come back to it just to reassess and try and give you exactly where we think the market is heading. I'm going to try and do that today and give you a few different ideas on that. But before I do, as I always ask, please hit the subscribe button to our channel. It really does help you get an idea of when we film these updates. And also, if you like the video and you like what I'm saying, please hit that like button as well. So what an insane couple of weeks it's been for the housing market and the wider economy. Kwasi Kwarteng's mini budget literally turned the world on its head. But it's a world that we were kind of expecting to come. If you review or go back and look at my updates from the last few months, we've been talking for quite a while about how we could see the market was hitting its peak, about how we could see an environment where interest rates were going to go up, and about how we could see an environment where the seller's market would become the buyer's market that it is now today. But I want to talk today around three different areas specifically, just to give us an idea of exactly where I think the market is at today. So let's talk first of all about interest rates. You can't escape the news for it. Interest rates or mortgage rates, whichever way you look at it, they are on the way up. The base rate currently at 2.25%, the next review coming on the 3rd of November. We've of course heard that Kwasi Kwarteng has just pulled his revised budget or his planning budget forward to the 29th of October, I believe, to try and overcome some of the uncertainty that there is out there. But I just want to try and put to bed a couple of different things, if I can, around interest rates, stuff that you don't read in the doom and gloom of all the headlines that we've been faced with. So the first thing I want to say about interest rates is that yes, rates are going up. But of course, what we have to remember is that the rate at which wages on the whole have been growing is greater than the rate at which interest rates or mortgage payments have been going up. If your rate increases by 1%, it's more than likely that you will have had a pay increase over the last year of more than 1% with all of the inflationary forces that are out there. I get and I understand that that's not getting rid of the entire problem, but it should be helping to ease the burden of that extra payment that people have got to make. The second, and I think one of the most important points to make about interest rates, is that we have been in this artificially low interest rate environment for so long, really since all the problems of the credit crunch. But the rates just could not stay there. My first property that I bought on a 7% interest rate. And there was nothing wrong with that at the time because it wasn't about what the interest rate was, it was about how much money that mortgage would cost me a month. Could I afford it? Yes. And so I bought that property, and people may just have to slightly adapt and change the price at which they're expecting to make that next purchase. Let's talk about the stamp duty changes. This has got lost in and amongst all of the noise that we have been hearing over the past few weeks. The rate at which first-time buyers pay interest has now jumped. The rate at which you will start paying stamp duty has now jumped. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's going to alleviate or get rid of all of the problems that we're seeing in terms of the rise in interest rates, in the rise of mortgage repayments, but certainly the change in stamp duty will help offset a little bit of that extra pressure that people are feeling. People have of course forgotten about this now because of everything else that's been going on, but I do think it's a positive that we can take from the last few weeks. Okay, the final thing I want to talk about today is something that I alluded to at the start of the video. It's the change from the seller's market into this buyer's market. The buyer's market is back. And yes, it's something that I honestly feel we've been calling and suggesting could happen for some months. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be everywhere. There's always going to be pockets where the buyer demand exceeds supply. But generally speaking, we're going to see an environment with a greater number of properties available and fewer people chasing those properties. Seller inquiries so far over the last month or so have been up 15%, whilst the number of applicant or buyer registrations is down against last year by 25%, albeit very similar to where it was in 2019. So we are without a shadow of a doubt seeing less people register for more property coming on the market. There is, in fact, now around 20% more property for sale than there was at this time last year. And so all of these things combined are going to, I believe, mean that prices are not going to be growing for the foreseeable future. And if anything, as most of the media outlets are reporting, we may well see a short, sharp adjustment in prices coming towards the end of the year, particularly in certain parts of the world. What happens beyond that, I think, will largely depend on how people react to the changes that the Chancellor is going to be announcing at the end of the month, what happens with interest rates, but of course, we'll be keeping an eye on all of that for you and trying to give you an exact idea of what is happening here at the sharp end. As always, I say the same thing every single time I film one of these videos. If you're thinking about moving through the remainder of 2022 or even into 2023, please get in touch with us. We're available 8 AM till 8 PM, 7 days a week. We'd love to talk to you about how we can help you move. Thanks for watching.